what's up? This your boy Big Man. You already know what it is, man. So let's get right to it. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about 600Breezy. Now, 600Breezy has been in a lot of controversy in the last couple of hours, man, or the last day or so, because he went on a podcast and he talked about the current situation that's going down in Chicago. You know, he touched a little bit on what's up with Oblock and that whole situation, and he talked about the situation that went down with Lil Tim and King Von. Now, for those of you who don't know or have been living under a rock lately, 600Breezy is a rapper from Chicago who's well known in the drill scene. And due to his affiliation with big mainstream artists like Drake, he's a well-known name, man, throughout hip-hop as well. Even if you look at some of like the blog pages like the Shade Room and stuff like that, you'll see they'll run stories about 600Breezy, man. He's one of those cats, man. He's kind of well known, right? Now, he's gained a reputation as being an outspoken spokesman for Lil Durk's side of things, for the King Von side of things, and he's always gone to social media to express his opinion of anything having to deal with his side and anything about Chicago that has to do with hip hop. Now, recently he was on a podcast and he talked about the situation with Lil Tim and King Von. Now, for those of you who don't know, Lil Tim is a gentleman who's accused of taking King Von's life last year in the shooting situation that led to several people being shot, several people losing their life, Lil Tim going to jail, and everybody knowing these names throughout hip-hop, right? Well, he made some statements that made some people upset, man. They thought he was, giving Lil Tim too much credit or whatnot, and he took to social media to respond to the backlash. Now, before all that, he was always on the side of what's going on, as far as the people that he reps with. Now, I'm trying not to give any credence to any specific names, so you're going to have to rock with me. But before we get to the story, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and man, let's get it. Okay, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about 600Breezy, man. Breezo, man. Okay, so 600Breezy is a rapper from Chicago, as mentioned before, right? And he gained prominence in the rap game, man, when Drake basically gave him the alley-oop of all lifetimes and put him on his More Life track, Lose You. And he also graced the stage in 2017 with Nicki Minaj and Drake and Lil Wayne at the 2017 Billboard Music Awards. I mean, it was going up. And then all of a sudden, he got locked up. Now, during his interview on this podcast, Fresh and Fit, he was talking about all this, man. He talked about how he was on top of the world and he got locked up in 2017. I think he did like 2 years or whatever. And it was in a case that was based out of like Waterloo, Iowa or somewhere like that. That's what I found out doing the research. He didn't bring that part up, but it was odd to hear that he had a case out in Iowa, but I could only imagine what that stems from. You know what I mean? Now, he talked about his whole life story and all that, but he didn't shy away from any of the hot topics right now. Now, one of the biggest topics that's going on, especially as Chicago is concerned, is the fact that Oblock had got raided, and you had Muwop, C-Thang, C-Murder, Los Muda, and a host of other cats getting arrested allegedly, right? Well, some of them alleged. Muwop, everybody from Oblock, and those cats, we know that's for sure because we seen their mugshots. They've been arrested. I mean, national story, national headlines, right? Biggest story in hip-hop right now. Now, as far as 600Breezy, when he first took to social media about the situation, he had this to say in a post. Now, in the post, you can see Breezy was in full support. This was only 2 hours after hearing about the news and the story cracked, and you can see he said, "Free them innocent boys. It's the cats that's happy about it that's throwing me off." This what the streets came to? Basically talking about the point that, his homeboys are the folks that he's affiliated with, right? Got locked up, man. And it looks like, they're going to be having a fight on their hands. And he was trying to show support while also dissing those people who were out there rooting for the fact that they got locked up, who considered themselves street dudes. Now, if you're not a street person like myself, and you're just, meaning I'm not a street person. Now, I'm not saying that I am a street person, so let's clear that up. Now, if you're just an innocent civilian or whatever, like the most of us, he's not talking to them. He's actually talking about the people who claim to be street and from his other side, the ops or whatnot, whatever you want to call them, and they were rooting for the fact that Muwop and those cats got locked up, man. So he was dissing them. But while he was on the podcast, he talked about this a little bit, but he didn't delve too much, man. He said pretty much "free them boys" and left it like that. Now, what's surprising is he didn't shy away from the King Von situation either, man. It seemed like at every question they asked, he was open and upfront about it. And we've seen him on social media be like that all the time. 600 Breezy kind of just doesn't, he doesn't hold his tongue, man. He doesn't shy away from any topic. And when asked, he said some things that made people upset. Now, there's a story that I'm going to read from hiphopdx.com, and the headline says this. It says, 600 Breezy says Quando Rondo affiliate Lil Tim wasn't wrong for killing King Von. Now, it starts off by saying this in the story, that burgeoning Chicago rapper King Von was shot and killed outside an Atlanta hookah bar last November following an altercation with Quando Rondo's entourage, bringing his brief 26 years on Earth to an end. Now, obviously, they're talking about the night that King Von lost his life, right? Horrible situation, terrible for hip-hop, horrible, black eye, right? Timothy Lil Tim Leaks, who was recovering at the hospital after being hit during the melee, was arrested for the shooting just hours later. But according to 600 Breezy, Lil Tim did what he had to do. During a recent interview with the Fresh and Fit podcast, the Chi-Town rapper said he was simply resource guarding. In quotations, it says, but what he did wasn't wrong, he said. He protected his bread. He protected his breadwinner. Quando Rondo is his breadwinner. So that's just like reverse situation. If cats walk up to Von and do that, one of Von's homies just pop out the car and shoot. You know what I'm saying? It was very unfortunate. So basically, understanding Lil Tim's take on the situation. Now, him having that understanding as far as like streets go and stuff like that, I think a lot of people took that the wrong way, because what he's doing is he's taking a step back and looking at it from Lil Tim's side. Like, okay, if the roles were reversed and King Von's homeboy jumped out shooting because some dudes was trying to fight King Von, would anybody be upset about that situation? And he's actually making a good point here. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. It's just a logical way of thinking and taking yourself out of the situation emotionally to understand what's going on. And he's closer to King Von than any of us will ever be. You know what I mean? So, I mean, they got pictures together when they were like kids, like young dudes. You know what I mean? Now, the story continues by saying Lil Tim was released on bail as he waited trial but couldn't manage to stay out of legal trouble. Last month, Lil Tim was arrested in Georgia following a high-speed police chase. And we did a story on that. I talked about Lil Tim getting arrested and the whole circumstances around that. Now, it goes on to say this. It says the Chatham County Sheriff Office inmate records show that Leaks was facing several charges, including failure to stop at a stop sign, speeding, following another auto too closely, failure to obey traffic control devices, and most felonious, fleeing or attempting to elude police officers for a felony offense. So basically, added to his jacket already when he's already looking at a murder case. Leaks was officially charged with King Von's murder on November 7th, 2020, after investigators secured warrants charging Leaks with the fatal shooting not long after the incident took place. In quotations, it says, Mr. Leaks is in police custody at Grady Hospital, where he is undergoing treatment for a gunshot wound. And a spokeswoman came out from the Atlanta PD and said that with the arrest of Lil Tim, the case was pretty much closed. You know what I mean? And that's where we're at so far in that situation. Lil Tim looking at charges. Now, I will say this. Lil Tim and them, it's hard to feel sorry for their situation because they did put themselves in this situation. And from all things that we can see, it was a fair fight. But, you can't judge what the next person is going to do in those type of situations, especially when there's some type of altercation involved, right? Now, 600 Breezy, during that interview, and I went to watch his part in the interview where he said all this, he touched on that as well, man. So he was actually looking at it from, the perspective of trying to be mature, I think. Now, to be real, a lot of people are upset with Lil Tim and Quando Rondo and them because of all the clout chasing after this situation. It was like, all right, somebody lost their life that a lot of people like. That's bad enough. It's a rapper. He got fans or whatever. But afterwards, they were doing a lot of clout chasing. You know what I mean? They were doing a lot of videos of people digging graves, videos of people dissing and, sneak dissing or whatnot. So it's hard to be sympathetic in this situation. Now, 600 Breezy, after making those comments on that podcast, he initially didn't get any type of backlash, but then he started to get a whole bunch of backlash yesterday and had to address it. So he took to social media and said this. He said, on social media, of course they skipped the whole part where I said, I don't mess with that dude and them cats. Still want to see them for what they did. But hey, if anybody don't like what I say, hit me in my mouth or shut up. Simple. Fans, friends, anybody. 100. Long live King Von, and you know what? To Timmy. Now carry on. So basically, he used this as another opportunity to diss Lil Tim and them. Because remember, when this situation took place, he was one of the first people to jump out there on social media and let the entire rap world know that it's on. You know, he put it out there on social. I remember I did a whole video about it, man. So he's always been repping for King Von. He's always been repping for Lil Durk. He's always been repping for Oblock and 600. You know, he even in the interview said that that's his homeboys or whatnot. And he explained the breakdown of a lot of things. And most people, they are jumping to conclusions. They're seeing that one little clip and they're running with it. And I think that's what 600Breezy tried to address here, man. He tried to let people know that his loyalty is where it lies. And if you have a problem with what he says, come see him. So that's what you can take from his post. Now, at this point, I don't think 600Breezy has to say anything else. I mean, that pretty much says it all. I doubt anybody's going to take him up on his challenge. And I'm pretty sure his homeboys in his immediate circle understand. Now, with that, hold up. What do you guys think about 600Breezy's words being used against him in this situation? Do you think that people just are taking that one part out of context? Or if it's on, it's on. If he shouldn't be saying anything positive about their side because, you know, it is what it is. Now, with that, this has been your boy Big Man. Do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you get a notification every time I drop this hot content. And we out of here. Peace.